The campus queen was standing at the gates of my estate, sobbing her mascara off, her baby bump prominently displayed. This is what your brother did. Now that I'm pregnant, does the Sterling family plan on denying it? She wailed. My reputation is ruined. My college degree is gone. You have to take responsibility. Neighbors were already gathering, whispering and pointing, accusing my family of using our wealth to bully the innocent and toying with women's feelings. Brenda, the girl's mother, was putting on an Oscar-worthy performance, sitting on the pavement and thrashing around. If you don't give us $5 million for emotional distress, transfer the downtown penthouse to my daughter and let her marry in as the second young missus. Sterling, she shrieked. I'll smash my head right here on your gate. I'll splash my blood all over your black-hearted mansion. I watched this farce with cold, detached eyes and asked calmly, Tiffany, are you absolutely certain the seed in your belly belongs to the second son of my family? She answered with ironclad certainty, her eyes full of venom and conviction. It is his. I remember every single detail of that night clearly. I'd recognize him even if he turned to ash. I couldn't help it. I laughed out loud. Since when did I have a brother? All I had at home was a dog. Laughing? You have a nerve to laugh. A rotten egg, smashed right next to my designer loafers. Mason Sterling. You coward, tell your brother to come out. Brenda pointed a finger right at my nose, screaming abusive profanities. You Sterlings think just because you have money you can bully us poor people? Get that animal brother of yours out here. Tiffany stood beside her, wearing a loose maternity dress, her small face streaked with tears, looking pitifully tragic. Mason, I know this isn't your fault. It has nothing to do with you, she sobbed. But there is a life inside me, a Sterling heir. Please, just let the second come out and see me. Boo-hoo, I really have no choice. The sorority kicked me out. My dad wants to beat me to death. The second brother can't just pull up his pants and pretend he doesn't know me. Her crying was so miserable that the onlooker's sense of justice instantly exploded. This is too much. No human being does this. They look like gentlemen, but the whole family is trash. That's the campus sweetheart of UCLA, a girl with a bright future, ruined just like that. He has to take responsibility. He has to marry her. I looked at them with an amused expression, not the least bit intimidated. There was no other reason for my confidence other than the fact that on my family's census records, I was the only child. I frowned, looking at Tiffany, who was crying so hard she looked ready to faint. Tiffany, let's be crystal clear. You say you're carrying a Sterling? Tiffany sobbed and nodded, slapping an ultrasound image in front of me. It's been 3 months. It happened exactly 3 months ago, that night in your backyard. How can you deny it? Next to them, a TikTok influencer was practically vibrating with excitement, shouting into her phone, Guys, wealthy family drama, caught in 4K, abandoning a pregnant woman. Tap that follow button. I'll show you exactly how scumbags end up. I watched their performance coldly, piecing together the situation in my mind. I looked at Tiffany, my tone terrifyingly calm. You say my family's second one did this? Tiffany looked up, a flash of guilt in her eyes quickly covered by greed. Yes, the second Sterling, the tall, strong, dark one who doesn't like to talk. She continued. I was walking past your backyard that night, and your brother dragged me inside. I resisted, but he was too strong. Sobi. I almost burst out laughing again. Tall and strong? Dark? Doesn't like to talk? The description was surgically accurate. My Tibetan Mastiff stands 6 feet on his hind legs, has a coat like shiny black satin, and aside from barking, he indeed doesn't speak English. Tiffany, are you sure it was him? You can't just make these things up. There are legal consequences. Seeing my hard stance, Tiffany thought I was trying to welch on the deal and immediately got desperate. How could I make this up? That's my purity we're talking about. You Sterlings might be shameless, but I still have my dignity. Mason, don't think you can just hide your brother and get away with it. You can run, but you can't hide. Brenda chimed in, pulling a bottle of unknown liquid from her bag and holding it high. If your family doesn't take responsibility today, I'll take my daughter and we'll both die right here. 2 bodies, 1 corpse. I'll let the whole city know you Sterlings are murderers. The crowd erupted in gasps. Oh my God, someone's going to die. That's tragic. Imagine the mother's pain. Are these Sterlings even human? Just agree to it. It's just a marriage. What's the big deal? The pressure of public opinion crashed down like a landslide. If it were anyone else, they probably would have panicked and agreed to anything just to quiet the storm. But I wasn't anyone else, and I wasn't exactly a good person. No need to die. You'll stay my driveway bricks, and they're a pain to clean. I said flatly, since you keep insisting it was my family's second one, let's lay it all out. As long as you can prove this kid is really his, forget just acknowledging it. The Sterling family will take full responsibility. Hearing me relent, Brenda's expression switched instantly from suicidal to triumphant. Should have said that earlier, making me lose my temper. She yelled to the crowd. Did you all hear that? This Sterling guy agreed. As long as we prove it was that deadbeat who did it, the family pays up. Tiffany stopped crying too, putting on her best fragile flower act. Mason, I really didn't want to make such a scene. I actually have feelings for the second brother. I raised an eyebrow. Feelings? She has feelings for my Tibetan Mastiff, who tries to bite everyone he sees? That's some heavy kink. I suppressed my laughter and pretended to ask seriously. Since you have feelings, tell me, what happened that night? I know the second one's temper. He's very withdrawn. How'd he hook up with you? Tiffany seemed prepared. Her eyes went misty, her voice choking up with a hint of shyness. The moon was full that night. I was walking past the back wall of your estate. Suddenly, Brother 2 jumped down from the wall. He was so tall, so strong. I was scared, but he grabbed my wrist. His strength was terrifying. I nodded. Yeah, a Mastiff pouncing definitely has terrifying strength. You're lucky he didn't snap your wrist. That's divine intervention. But she doesn't live in this neighborhood, so why was she walking past my house? And then, I pressed. Then he pressed me onto the grass. Tiffany blushed and lowered her head. He didn't say a word, just breathed heavily. His hot breath sprayed on my face, carrying a very particularly manly scent. Particularly manly scent? That was unwashed dog musk, wasn't it? I pinched my thigh to force myself not to break character. Was he rough? I continued digging the hole. Tiffany bit her lip, looking aggrieved, yet submissive. At first he was rough. He tore my clothes and bit my neck several times. She pulled down her collar, revealing several scars that hadn't completely faded. Look, this is the proof. These are the love marks Brother 2 left. The crowd went into an uproar. What an animal. How cruel. Look at those scars. She must have been bleeding. Pervert. Sadist. I leaned in a look. There were scars, all right, but the shape looked more like 2 sharp puncture wounds. It was clearly skin broken by canine teeth. 3 months ago, my Mastiff did jump the wall and run out once. He came back with blood on his muzzle. I thought he'd killed a stray cat and beat him for it. Turns out he bit the campus queen. Seeing me stare at the wound, Tiffany thought I bought it. Mason, I know Brother 2 is a good person deep down. He just doesn't know how to express himself. Even though that night was forced, I could feel he had me in his heart. Afterward, he even gave me a token of love. It's in my bag. Tiffany frantically dug through her designer bag and pulled out an object, holding it high. In the sunlight, the object glittered. It was a metal tag. Engraved on it were words, Sterling's second. The crowd instantly exploded. Confirmed. That's the love token. His name is even carved on it. How can they deny it? This Sterling's second brother must be a romantic, giving away something so personal. Brenda snatched the tag and shoved it in my face. Sterling, open your dog eyes and look clearly. Is this your family's property? Is this your brother's name? Is it? I looked at the familiar dog tag. That was the custom titanium anti-loss tag I paid $3,000 for, which also had my phone number on it, though Brenda's thumb was conveniently covering the digits. When he came back that night 3 months ago, his collar was indeed broken and the tag was gone. I was upset about it for a long time. Who knew it ended up with the campus queen? I looked at the dog tag, my expression turning peculiar. This is indeed our property, I admitted. Brenda laughed maniacally in triumph. He admits it. This is ironclad proof. Everyone heard that. The physical evidence is here. The witness is standing right here. I'd like to see how you Sterlings wiggle out of this one. Tiffany let out a sigh of relief, looking deeply at the dog tag. When Brother 2 gave this to me, his eyes were so gentle. He promised he would take responsibility. Mason, since you recognize the token, please let Brother 2 come out, Tiffany said, stroking her belly, the glow of motherhood nearly blinding me. I want to see him, and the baby wants to see his daddy. I took a deep breath, looking at this mother-daughter duo immersed in their delusion. Fine, since the item matches, let's talk terms. I stepped back, clearing the path to the gate. But before you see the second, state exactly what you want. I don't want you changing your mind once you see him. Hearing that we were negotiating, Brenda quickly signaled the lawyer beside her. The lawyer pulled out a pre-drafted contract, adopting a strictly professional tone. Mr. Sterling, given that your brother, Sterling 2, has caused severe physical and psychological trauma to my client, Miss Vance, and that Miss Vance is currently pregnant. According to state law and relevant statutes, we propose the following compensation demands. I lit a cigarette, leaned against the gate pillar, and blew a smoke ring. Speak. The lawyer cleared his throat. First, Miss Vance is still a university student. Because of the pregnancy, she has been forced to suspend her studies, causing irreversible damage to her reputation and future. Therefore, we claim damages for emotional distress, lost wages, nutritional costs, and loss of youth, totaling $5 million US. Dola. $5 million? The neighbors gasped. I chuckled. $5 million? Why don't you just rob a bank? Brenda instantly jumped up. Is $5 million too much? My daughter is a campus queen. She was going to be a superstar. Now that your brother ruined her, $5 million is barely enough. It's peanuts to the Sterling family. Yeah, the Sterlings are loaded. $5 million is just chump change, someone in the crowd heckled. If you didn't want to pay, you should have kept your zippers up. I waved my hand, signaling the lawyer to continue. Second, considering the child's future environment and the need for Miss Vance to rest, we require the Sterling family to unconditionally transfer the title of the 3,000 square foot Riverview penthouse in downtown to Miss Vance's name. Good Lord, that was my future marital home. Market value, $50 million. These two really dare to dream. Third, the lawyer closed the folder and looked up at me. To give the child a legitimate status, Sterling too must immediately register for marriage with Miss Vance and hold a grand wedding. The dowry must follow the highest local standards. $8 million. The wedding must be held this week before my client starts showing in her wedding dress. Brenda added. Listening to these three conditions, the cigarette in my hand almost burned my fingers. $5 million cash, a $50 million property, plus nearly $10 million in dowry and wedding costs. Were they trying to get married? Or were they trying to liquidate my entire family estate? And if I refuse, I flicked the ash my tone cool. Brenda immediately prepared to throw herself on the ground again, raising the bottle of iced tea she was pretending was poison. Refuse? If you refuse, we stay right here. I'll go live right now. I'll let the whole country see the Sterling family's true face. I've got nothing to lose. If my daughter can't live, I'll leave my old life right here too. When your stock crashes and your business goes bankrupt, we'll see if you can afford that loss. They had clearly done their homework. They knew my family was in business and feared public scandal most. The influencer shoved her camera into my face, narrating loudly. Do you see this, guys? This is the face of capitalism. Knocks a girl up and won't take responsibility. Won't even pay child support. Type scumbag in the chat. Let's help this poor mother and daughter. The comment section was instantly flooded with insults directed at me. Tiffany stepped forward then, grabbing my sleeve, looking incredibly reasonable and self-sacrificing. Mason, the money and the house aren't important. I'm doing this for the baby. As long as brother 2 treats me well and acknowledges the child, I can ask for less. We can put both our names on a house title. Look at that. So sensible. This step back instantly won another wave of sympathy. The older women nearby were tearing up. What a good girl. Thinking of a man, even now. Sterling, are you even human? Where are you going to find a sister-in-law this good? Agree to it already, or God will strike you down. I looked into Tiffany's eyes, seemingly pure, but actually calculating, and sneered internally. She wasn't looking for a husband. She was looking for a host to parasitize. I threw the cigarette, but on the ground, and crushed it with my toe. Deal. I spat out the word. The crowd went instantly silent. Brenda's eyes went wide with disbelief. You agree? Tiffany also looked joyous. Really, Mason? You agree to me and brother 2? $5 million is no problem. The house is no problem. As for the marriage, I paused. As long as you're truly willing to marry my family's second one. As long as you don't mind that he's dark, don't mind that he smacks his lips when he eats, and don't mind that he defecates wherever he pleases. Even if it's interspecies, I admire your courage. What? Tiffany froze. Inter what? The people around were also confused. Brenda got anxious. Stop with the sarcasm. Just tell us, will you let him come out? Yes, absolutely. I turned and shouted toward the mansion. Higgins, go to the backyard. Bring the second master out. Let him meet his fiancée. Just as Higgins turned to go inside to fetch the groom, a black Bentley smashed through the crowd and screeched to a halt at the gate. The doors opened, and a well-dressed, middle-aged couple stepped out. It was my parents, just back from their trip abroad. Seeing the scene, my mom took off her sunglasses, her aura dominating. What is going on here? Is this a farmer's market? Why is there an opera performing at my gate? Seeing the heads of the household arrive, Brenda immediately switched targets and lunged forward. Oh, in-law, you're finally back. Look what your second son did. My mom shuddered at the word in-law, stepping back and nearly crushing my dad's foot. Who is your in-law? Don't go claiming relatives. Who are you? Brenda pointed at Tiffany's visible bump, wailing to the heavens. I'm Tiffany's mother. Your second young master got my daughter pregnant. What? My mom and dad exchanged a glance, their eyes full of confusion. My dad frowned. The second one? Pregnant. My mom's eyes went wide, pointing at Tiffany's belly with a look like she was seeing an alien. That's impossible, right? Brenda thought my mom was trying to deny it. What do you mean impossible? The evidence is solid. Even the love token is here. She shoved the dog tag engraved with Sterling's second in front of my mom. Look, is this your second son's property? It has his name on it. My mom took the tag, and her face went through a magnificent transformation. It looked like she wanted to laugh, but was choking on it. Her mouth twitched as she asked, "Miss, are you sure he gave this to you?" Tiffany was fully in character now, nodding shyly. "Yes, Mrs. Sterling. Brother 2 doesn't talk much, but he has me in his heart. That night when he gave this to me, he even kissed my face." My mom couldn't hold it anymore. She snorted out a laugh. My dad's expression shifted from serious to incredulous. "Kissed your face? He didn't bite. I mean, he wasn't aggressive?" Tiffany looked sweet. "Brother 2 is quite fierce and strong, but he was gentle with me. I know his status is special, kept at home and hidden from the public. But I don't care. I love him for who he is, no matter how wild-looking he is." My mom took a deep breath, clutching my dad's arm like she had taken a massive shock. "So, miss, you've really thought this through? You won't marry anyone but him." Brenda cut in immediately. "She has to marry him, and it has to be a formal wedding with a full dowry. Otherwise, we'll sue the Sterling family for rape." The crowd started applying pressure again. Why is the mother-in-law dragging her feet? The girl is already in this state. Just let her in the family. Rich people are so difficult, looking down on commoners. My mom, getting annoyed by the insults, let her fears side out. She threw her sunglasses into her bag and pointed at Tiffany. "Fine, since you insist on marrying him, then marry him, as long as you don't regret it after seeing the second one. I, as his mother, won't stop you. I'll even throw in a $5 million dowry myself. I just worry you'll run faster than a rabbit when you see him." Seeing my parents relent, Brenda and Tiffany finally relaxed. The influencer shoved the microphone to Tiffany's mouth. "Miss Tiffany, can you tell the viewers what hobbies the second Sterling Master has?" Tiffany brushed her hair back, eyes dreamy. "Brother 2 loves meat, especially medium rare steak. He has a great appetite. He can eat pounds of it in one meal." I interjected from the side. "True. If you don't give him meat, he destroys the furniture." Tiffany glared at me and continued her affectionate description. "And Brother 2 hates wearing clothes. At home, he's always very primal, very wild. I think it's a kind of return to nature beauty." I nodded in agreement. "Indeed, if you put clothes on him, he shreds them. The last vest we bought him became confetti in 2 minutes." A low chuckle rippled through the crowd. Someone whispered, "Is this second master some kind of exhibitionist? Artist quirks. Rich people are perverts." Hearing the chatter, Tiffany quickly tried to salvage the image. "It's not perversion. He's just free-spirited. And Brother 2 has somewhat excessive body hair, but in winter, hugging him is so warm, like a big furnace." "Excessive body hair?" the streamer asked curiously. "How excessive?" Tiffany gestured with her hands. "Like, his chest hair is very long. It feels really good to touch, smooth and shiny." I nearly laughed out loud. "Of course it is. I feed him imported kibble and lecithin. How could his coat not be shiny?" Brenda added smugly from the side. "That's called manliness. Not like these little pretty boys today, sissies. I just love that wild energy in my son-in-law. After they get married, I'll move in to take care of the couple. Whatever the second master wants to eat, I, his mother-in-law, will cook it." She was already styling herself as the mother-in-law, even sizing up our garden. "This garden is too big. The grass is hard to maintain. We'll dig it up later, plant some green onions and chives. And that pool, wasting water. Better to raise some ducks." My mom was rolling her eyes so hard they were about to inspect her brain. She gritted her teeth and whispered to me, "Son, why hasn't Higgins brought that beast out yet? I'm about to slap this old hag." Just then, from deep within the estate, a heart-stopping sound erupted. Roar. The moment the sound hit, the noisy crowd went instantly silent. That was not a human sound. Even the neighbors' dogs who were watching the drama tucked their tails and whimpered in fear. Tiffany's face went pale, and she instinctively covered her belly. "What is that sound?" I explained calmly. "Oh, that's your husband. My family's second son. He has a bad temper, and he might have some morning grumpiness about being forced out to meet guests. Don't worry, didn't you say tough love? He's just roaring to express his longing for you." Brenda was nervous, but kept up the front. "Roaring? He's just exercising his voice. My son-in-law has strong lungs, good health." Following that came the sound of heavy footsteps. It didn't sound like a person walking. It sounded like a massive beast charging. Almost there. I pointed to the large iron gate on the side of the mansion. Tiffany, are you ready? The brother too you've been pining for, the father of your child, is about to come out and reunite with you. Tiffany stared at the gate, her breathing rapid. She was expecting an eccentric, perhaps ugly, perhaps hairy, but billionaire heir. As long as he was human, as long as he had money, she could tolerate it. Come out. Second master. The influencer shouted to hype up the stream. Let us witness this earth-shattering love. The heavy iron gate was slammed open by a massive brute force. Everyone's eyes went wide, phones raised, flashes firing like crazy. However, the anticipated eccentric heir did not appear. Charging out of the darkness was a colossal, purebred Tibetan Mastiff, drool dripping from his jowls. He let out a furious roar, the shockwave causing Brenda, who was standing at the front, to sit abruptly on the ground. Dead silence. Even the chat on the live stream froze for a second. The Mastiff rushed to my side. I barked a command, sit. He braked instantly, sitting obediently, but a threatening growl still rumbled in his throat as he glared viciously at the strangers. Here, let me introduce you. This is my family's second son. His legal name is Brutus, also known as the Second Sterling. He is also the owner of that ID tag, and the tall, strong, dark, silent, hairy, raw meat-loving husband you described. I looked at the dumbstruck Tiffany, my voice gentle. Sister-in-law, why are you frozen? Call him hubby. Look, brother too is wagging his tail. He recognizes you. Tiffany stared at the Mastiff, which was bigger than she was, and finally processed it. Impossible. That's a dog. Mason, you're lying. Where did you hide your brother? Who are you trying to scare with a dog? Brenda scrambled up from the ground, legs shaking, but greed overrode her reason. Sterling, do you think we're idiots? You definitely hid the real young master. You want to renege on the deal. I shrugged and took a few red booklets from Higgins. They were the purebred pedigree certificate, the dog license issued 3 years ago, and my family census records. I opened the documents and displayed them to everyone. Look closely. Name, Brutus Sterling. Family nickname, the second. Breed, Tibetan Mastiff. Owner, Mason Sterling. Genuine article, fair trade. And on my family census, I am the only son. Holding the documents, I stepped closer to the mother and daughter, the smile vanishing from my face. Tiffany, didn't you just say you remembered every detail of that night, clearly? Didn't you say you'd recognize him, even if he turned to ash? Didn't you say you loved his wild soul? Now he is right here. If the child in your belly is his, please explain to the biologists of the world how a human gets pregnant by a dog. Or, I looked at Tiffany's bloodless face and articulated every word. Explain to the millions of people watching online right now. Who does that bastard in your belly actually belong to? Why did you use my family's dog as the fall guy? The air on the scene was terrifyingly quiet. The crowd's expressions shifted from shock to a constipated look of absurdity. The livestream chat went nuclear. WTF. Plot twist of the year. I'll pay good money for unseeing eyes. Wait, this is insane. She said his chest hair was smooth. That was dog fur. I held the stack of documents, looking down at Tiffany. Cat got your tongue? You were so talkative earlier. Come on, tell everyone that story again. You said he pressed you on the grass. How exactly did you perform those acrobatics with a 150-pound dog? Tiffany shattered. She looked at the drooling giant dog, her stomach churning violently. She covered her mouth and started dry heaving. Brenda was making a last-ditch struggle. She got up, pointing a trembling finger at my nose. You definitely hid the real son and brought a dog out to take the blame. You rich people will do anything. That tag was definitely engraved later. I let out a cold laugh and turned to the lawyer, who looked like he'd seen a ghost. Mr. Collins, right? You're a professional. Why don't you authenticate these documents? Also, the microchip in this dog's neck, call someone to scan it. See if the registration date was 3 years ago. The lawyer was sweating buckets, unable to wipe it fast enough. He looked at the ferocious Mastiff, then at the $5 million lawsuit contract in his hand. His hand shook, and the contract fell to the ground. No need to look. Mr. Sterling, this is just a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. I cut him off, my voice dropping to sub-zero. Just a moment ago you wanted $5 million. You wanted my property. You wanted my family's reputation destroyed. Now it's a misunderstanding, and you want to walk. I pointed at the contract on the ground, then at Tiffany, who was still retching. Just now, the campus queen personally admitted that the perpetrator that night in my backyard was silent, hairy, and strong. My dog hits every single one of those marks. And I crouched down and patted Brutus's head. Junior, speak. Woof! The thunderous bark made Tiffany flinch violently again. I spread my hands. Hear that? That voice. Isn't it deep and wild? The crowd couldn't hold it back anymore. They erupted into raucous laughter. Wahaha! I'm dying. Deep and wild, holy crap. Tiffany's taste is really something. Trying to scam money so hard she didn't even spare the dog. Amidst the sky-high ridicule, Tiffany finally broke down completely. Her hair was a mess, her makeup ruined by tears. No, it's not like that. I didn't know it was a dog. I didn't know. That night, it was definitely a man. Finally, the truth. I stood up, my gaze sharp as a knife. Oh, it was a man? Who was that man? Why'd you take a lost dog tag and insist it was my brother? Isn't it because you have no idea who that man was either? Or maybe that man doesn't want to claim it. I pulled another document from my pocket. This was the private investigator's report I had express delivered just moments ago. Slap! I threw the report right into Tiffany's face. You won't say it, so I'll say it for you. 3 months ago, you got wasted at Nightshade Bar and hooked up with a lowlife thug. Afterwards, he ran off and blocked you. You found out you were pregnant, didn't dare tell your family, and didn't want an abortion. That night, you came to the estates to try your luck and happened to find the tag Brutus lost. You looked at the word Sterling second and looked at this mansion, and greed took over. You thought this was a lottery ticket. As long as you insisted it was the young master of this house, you'd not only find a scapegoat, but extort a fortune. Tiffany Vance, am I right? The papers scattered on the ground, revealing photos of Tiffany and a yellow-haired thug groping each other in the bar, along with the thug's hotel records. Tiffany looked at the photos and collapsed into a pile of mud, her face ashen. Brenda saw the photos and nearly blacked out. But she was a seasoned scoundrel. After the shock, she actually refused to give up. She grabbed my leg, wailing, Mr. Sterling. Mr. Sterling, we were wrong. We made a mistake. We were confused. Since it's a misunderstanding, we don't want the $5 million. We don't want the house. Let's just pretend this never happened, okay? Pretend it never happened? I kicked her hand away, dusting off my pants in disgust. When you were backing me into a corner earlier, did you think about giving me a way out? When you live-streamed to cyberbully me, did you think about giving me a way out? I pointed to the influencer's phone, which was still broadcasting. There are millions of people watching right now. You say it didn't happen, and it just vanishes? That lawyer read it out clearly. $5 million cash, $50 million in property. That amount is enough to keep you behind bars, sewing uniforms for the rest of your life. Just then, the piercing sound of sirens approached. Several police cruisers pulled up to the gate. I had called the cops the moment Higgins went to get the dog. Officers pushed through the crowd. Who called it in? Who was attempting extortion? I pointed at the mother and daughter on the ground, the lawyer, and the influencer who had been jumping for joy earlier. Officers, it's them. The evidence is solid. Their fingerprints are on the extortion contract. The live stream recording has their threats, and there are plenty of witnesses here. They fabricated facts and used public opinion to attempt to extort a massive sum from the Sterling family. Hearing the police, the lawyer's knees gave out and he dropped to the floor. It has nothing to do with me. They tricked me. I didn't know it was a dog. The influencer, terrified, killed the stream and tried to slip away, but Higgins grabbed him by the collar. Running? You were shouting pretty loud a minute ago. After hearing the full story, even the police officer's expressions were hard to describe. But in the face of solid evidence, the law is cold. Take them all away. Cold handcuffs slapped onto Brenda and Tiffany's wrists. In that moment, they finally understood the meaning of despair. Brenda struggled like a madwoman. I won't go to prison. I won't. My daughter is a campus queen. She's pregnant. You can't arrest her. Sterling, you'll rot in hell. You bully even pregnant women. Tiffany was like a soulless doll, letting the police drag her away, muttering to herself, it's over. It's all over. My stardom. My billionaire dream. As she passed me, she looked up, her eyes empty, staring at the mastiff still wagging its tail. Brutus seemed to sense something and gave her a friendly woof. Tiffany shuddered, her eyes rolled back, as she fainted dead away. Half a month later, the court verdict came down. Brenda and Tiffany were sentenced to 10 and 8 years in prison respectively for extortion. The lawyer was disbarred and sentenced to 3 years for assisting in fabricating evidence. The influencer got 15 days of administrative detention for provoking trouble and defamation, and his accounts were banned across all platforms. As for the child in Tiffany's belly, rumor has it she miscarried in the detention center due to emotional distress. The real father, the thief who stole e-bikes, was also arrested. Supposedly, he's locked up in the same facility, A family reunion of sorts. 6 months later, on a sunny afternoon, I was walking Brutus on the community lawn. He was now the celebrity dog of the neighborhood. Neighbors no longer pointed and whispered. Instead, they greeted us warmly. "Hey Mason, walking the second master? Look at that coat on Junior. Truly the dog that almost married the prom queen." I smiled back, unclipped the leash, and let Brutus frolic on the private grass. Watching him chase butterflies looking like a complete idiot, I lit a cigarette and took a deep drag. Sometimes, people really aren't as good as dogs. Dogs might eat trash, but they don't destroy lives for money. Some people, for the sake of cash, are less than dogs. Woof! Brutus ran back with a frisbee in his mouth, rubbing against my leg and wiping drool all over me. I pushed his big head away in disgust. "Get off, this is Armani. Rub on me again, and I'll pull your teeth out and send you to keep Tiffany company." Brutus seemed to understand. He tilted his head, gave me a look of extremely human contempt, and turned around to go play with the golden retriever next door. Story complete.